Yeah, so we talked about habits, and we're still talking about habits. And if you've just joined us, if you missed the part one, make sure that you get the part one. You'll find it on our YouTube, Bahati Hilda Sabiti. Make sure that you go get that one. And in case you need to share it with someone, let's learn to spread goodness and be able to spread knowledge and information. If you know someone that will be helped by this, make sure that you slide it in their DMs, in their inboxes, share it with them so that they can be able to learn and be able to grow. Remember, we usually say that we sink, we survive, or we thrive. If we choose to thrive, everything that we're going to talk about on this journey is something that is going to throw you onto the thriving end and the flourishing end. And one of the things that we're talking about today is habits. Habits, if you formulate the good habits, they are going to take you a long way in the line of thriving and making it and creating the success and the significance that we want to get into. But why do we, if we know the habits that we mentioned, the good attitude, okay? The good attitude, because that is visible, it can be seen, and it's cultivated. And just like we say that we choose our responses, but reactions are impulsive. They are, they are reflex. You don't choose your reaction, you choose your response. So if you choose your response, that means you have cultivated a good attitude. And so this good attitude is being displayed, okay, as, good responses and how you view the world and your perception of the world. When we talk about, networking with people, talk about the habits that get the people to where they want to get. That, I'm going to network, create relationships, and relationships that are going to build me. And you know that you don't just intend, you have to go to cross over into the action. Because what intentions say, you say, someday I will create a good networks and I will create good relationships. But what action does, or what good actions do, they say now is the time. And while intentions say someone should do it, the acting or the action, the habit, the good habits say you own it and you actually go ahead and do it, because no one is ever going to do it for you. So I need you to know that this is something, this is you choosing, and choosing that every day, the consistency, okay? Let's talk about good spending habits. The good spending habits, being frugal. Being frugal is a choice that you make, but you just don't intend it. No, you just don't have intentions about it and good thoughts about it. They will stop at thoughts. But the moment you cross over into actions, that is when you know that, okay, I am just going to be disciplined with my personal financial management. What do I need to buy? What don't I need? Can I have a list? Can I know what is priority? Can I know the things that I can't live without? Can I know how to save more? Can I know how, can I get more knowledge about this? So you realize that action has a lot of things that you need to do in order to establish this habit in your life. But that frugality is going to get you to your dreams. Being frugal is not the same as being stingy. No, it's not. It's not. Being stingy and being frugal are two different things. While being frugal is you being intentional and then being active about how you plan for your money and how you execute those plans in order to get to the goals that you need to get. How else are you going to build those apartments? How else are you going to build that arcade? How else are you going to achieve to have your children study in good schools? How else are you going to achieve to build your own house and drive that kind of car that you want? How else are you going to be able to help other people with charity and what? You realize that it all comes back to your personal financial management as a habit, okay? And so you make sure that you look at that and know what exactly I need to do. And sometimes it's even just about relaxation, that the world is moving at a very high speed. You know, notifications are coming, things are coming. You being able to center yourself and root yourself and say, I am going to relax, because then in relaxing, I am going to be revitalized, and then I can be able to run a lot further, instead of just keeping running and running and running and not stopping to readjust your direction and know, is this exactly where I was going? Because sometimes we get taken off or swayed off our direction, and sometimes it can be just a little bit of a change. There's a time I was talking about, let me remember, I think I was still talking about a habit, and I said that you cannot change your entire life right now, but you can change your direction right now. And the moment you change your direction to a good direction, that means that you are locked in and you can run as fast as you can. But do you realize that even a person that is going to lose a sense of direction, they don't need to go very far. They don't need to meander very far. Just make sure that you take just a little bit, a few centimeters off the right route. And let me tell you, you will find yourself at a totally different destination, because then it's going to increase and increase and take you further and take you further. Just a few centimeters away from the right direction. So you realize that if you really want to cultivate your sense of direction, or your sense of, and sometimes, by the way, the good habits that we cultivate are even believing in ourselves. Yeah. No one ever won without believing in themselves. Just believing in yourself. Just self-awareness, okay? Just knowing what works for me and what doesn't work for me. Some of those things are things that we repeatedly do in order to be able to cultivate those habits. But in a way, let's talk about what has really failed us, okay? From cultivating those habits. Let me take an example of saving. Some of us, we start with too huge abruptly. Say, for example, you have known that, okay, in order for me to get to build those apartments, this is the kind of money that I want. And sometimes for the people that start too big abruptly, they don't even calculate. They just look at that and they're like, you know what, because they're too excited, then they're like, you know what, I'm just going to save 20% of my income and just put it away, because I'm saving for a big thing. And we've just been talked about, Bahati has just told us about a vision, about success, and about cultivating good habits, and now all of a sudden you bump into it, you know, big and abrupt. Now, big and abrupt, you can only run for 2 weeks. And your engine crashes. You can only run for 2 weeks, or for 1 month, or 2 months, or 3 months, and the habit will be broken down. Why? Because it was not sustainable, it was not realistic, okay? And you did not warm into it. It's like exercise. For those of you that go to gym, you realize that an instructor will tell you to do warm-ups, okay? Or to just hit the treadmill and warm up before you do anything else. Why? Because they need to get you into the flow, okay? Because they know that once they start with the high activity, the vigorous activity, the heart won't take it, okay? It will be too vigorous too soon, and you will give up too soon. So that is why before anything, they will tell you to warm up. And then after the exercises, they will tell you to stretch. Okay, you will have a stretching session. I don't know how your instructors do it, but that is what happens, okay? So that means that you must be able to get into the flow after you have understood how do I benefit from this? Can I calculate? Can I understand how much money I use a month? And can I be able to commit and say realistically, the best I can do is 2%. The best I can do is 5% of my salary to save it, so that I can actually know I can save for my future projects. So you realize that is very measurable and very achievable. So starting too big, too soon, abrupt, that fails us in creating habits, okay? Even if it's a habit for intermittent fasting, there is no way you're going to start with 20 hours over 4. There is no way you can start with that. You can't start with 16 over 8. You can't start with that. So the best you can do is maybe 12. And before you know it, you're going 14, 8. So you realize that you are going step by step. You're not just doing, otherwise, if you go 20, or if you go 16, plunge into 16 and 8, you realize that you're creating an imbalance. You're throwing your whole body off balance, and you can only sustain it for a day, and then you can never do it again, because you will get a headache, because it will be a hunger strike. It will not be intermittent fasting. So you realize that take time to ease into things. Okay, even when you want to run a marathon, people that run a marathon don't start with like they are on a short relay. No, they don't do that. It's not a sprint. No, it's a marathon. Let your muscles get used to the action, increase your speed over time, and then pick up the pace. Do not just fall into it abruptly. So whichever it is, even a relationship, oh my God, I don't know. Because now I'm touching so many places, but these places are needed. Ease yourself into a relationship. Don't bump into a relationship, for God's sake. Don't do that. Some of us have bumped into a relationship. We do the last things first, okay? We start by going to bed with that person, and then now your emotions are already hooked. Now you feel bad when they don't call you. But the moment you ease into this relationship, into a friendship, that means you call each other, you find out what's happening in each other's lives. Even when they don't call, it's not a big deal, because it's not a relationship. Some of you have seen a person 1 day or 2 days, and already it's a relationship. You've even declared it to the people in the village, and you're telling, oh, I'm in a relationship, thank God. It's not a relationship. That is what? A situationship? That is what? I don't know. I even don't know what to call it. So you realize that ease into things. By creating good habits, you don't just bump into them. You create them over time, okay? Even when, let's talk about marriage, and you're practicing forgiveness, okay? You don't just say, this person, I've been looking for a chance to practice good habits. This person just did this big thing, and I've just forgiven them. Let me tell you, it's going to come back haunting you. The moment you ease into it, feel the pain, talk about it, discuss it, put ways and measures how that can be avoided, you realize that now you are dealing with the core of the thing over time, and so you can easily go back into being happy together. Why? Because you have taken time to ease into it, not just sweeping it under the rug in the name of forgiving, and then you have the same resentment 5 years after that. Okay, so you realize that. Make sure that it's not too soon and too abrupt, and then commit. In order to create a habit, I think you've heard about even the seatbelt. There are people who are not good with seatbelts, but they tell you know what, do it over and over and over and over again. Okay, so for so many things, they will tell you keep doing it. If you're starting a new thing, a new routine, keep doing it and doing it and doing it until it becomes a second nature, that you will find yourself doing it without even thinking. Because whenever that time comes, you will, for example, if you've been waking up very early in the morning, you realize that, or if you want to wake up, you realize you'll start by setting an alarm, and the alarm will start waking you, will start waking you up. But you realize that 3 months or 4 months into the early waking up, you will not need an alarm. You will find yourself that every 5 a.m. you are up. No, without an alarm. Actually, most of the times you will find that you beat your alarm to waking up. You will wake up faster or earlier than your alarm, and then you will have to just put it off so that it just doesn't shout for you. But you are already up and you're functioning and you're doing other things. So commitment, what commitment does is it makes it our second nature. It makes it our fallback, like it's a fallback position. It's so easy for us to do it. But commitment takes you being intentional. Commitment takes you, setting up alarms. Commitment takes you knowing yourself and knowing that I am not good with setting up habits, so I am actually not going to do it alone. Because that leads me to the other thing, how we can be able to create habits. Some of us, we think we can go at them alone. No, That is why we have communities. That is why we have had Hold My Hand community for the longest time. That is why we have accelerated mentorship program where we train coaches and we train speakers and we train authors to make sure that when they come together with a group of like-minded people, that even when they stopped creating content, they will be reminded by other people in the group. So they have a team, and sometimes I'll even call them and say, I have not been seeing you, I don't know what's happening. And someone will say, you know what, maybe I face this problem, but I'm coming back, coach, I am really serious about this, and I'm not letting it go. Before you know it, that person has come back, and they're doing what they're supposed to do, because they are not doing it alone. They're doing it with a community. They're doing it. So what is your support system? For so many people, accelerated mentorship has been a success as a support system. For so many people, Hold My Hand has been a place where they get constant reminders about what they want to achieve. So you realize that, do yourself a favor, find yourself a community, plug into it, and be able to use their strength to your advantage, and make sure that you create the good habits that you really need to do. Going alone, they say that you can go faster, but if you want to go further, go with a group of people that are like-minded and are walking the same route, and they want the same things out of life, and so you can be able to travel further with them. And whenever you fall down, they will pick you up. Whenever you throw your habit down, they will remind you to pick it up. Why? Because it's the engine that propels you into the success and the vision that you want for your life. So don't go at it alone. Don't start abruptly and too soon and fall into a habit, and then have structures. Okay? Have structures in place. And some of these structures, it can even be as simple as journaling. You know, formulating a habit, it's not as simple as you thinking about it in your head and just executing it. Sometimes what you write sticks into your mind. Sometimes you need to go back to your journal and say, okay, I promised myself that this is what I will be doing, that this is how I will be keeping my own promises. When you have a structure, for example, you have, if one of the goals or one of the habits that you want to cultivate is to being fit, that means one of the structure is getting out of the way and going to a gym and paying a membership. So you have paid a membership, you have put a structure in place. So you know, I have paid my money and I have to go to that place 3 days in a week or 5 days in a week. I have an instructor that is going to call me up and ask me, I didn't see you yesterday, I didn't see you the other day. So that means there is a structure in place, okay? Just to make sure that you know what you are going to do, when you are going to do it, and how you are going to do it. So structures help you, keep you in position and keep you in place and keep you plugged in. So make sure that you have those structures. Structures can be as simple as buying gym clothes. Okay, and knowing that, okay, I have what it takes, because sometimes there are silly excuses. I will call them silly excuses. And on Monday, I was talking to, last Monday, I was talking to the people in the mentorship class, and I was asking them, you know what you are supposed to do. Why aren't you doing it? Okay, and so they were giving me, you know, I'm waiting until I have this, I'm waiting, I have this. We were talking about content creation. And so I was asking, why aren't you creating the content? Why aren't you, putting yourself out there? Why aren't you branding yourself? Why aren't you, why aren't you writing the book that you promised to write? And they're like, I'm waiting until I have a ring light. I'm waiting until I have all these things. And to them, those things sounded so genuine, like they were so genuine. Okay. And then after that, I got a chance to speak, and I told them these are all well-packaged excuses. Well-packaged, glittering excuses? But nonetheless, they are excuses. That means they are not taking you anywhere. They are not helping you. And I told them that when I started, the time that I started creating content and, putting myself out there, I didn't have a ring light. All I had was a phone, and not a good phone at that. But I would put books in place, and I would make sure that the phone is at a certain angle, and I would make sure that I take my videos, and no one knew that I was taking a videos without a ring light. No one knew that I was taking a videos without a good camera. So, that helped me start. It warmed me up. And when the real work got in place, it was so easy for me to flow into it. Why? Because I had already been doing it without any kind of resources. So you realize that structures, okay, help you start, okay, and if you never start, you will never do anything. Make sure that you get going, okay. And for the things that we have mentioned, don't give yourself any glamorous excuse. There is no excuse. There is no excuse for not saving. There is no excuse for creating for not creating better relationships. There is no excuse for managing your financial muscle. There is no excuse for you being organized. There is no excuse for you being fit. There is no excuse. Okay, no excuse. Whatever you have, whatever that you think, oh, it is valid. Yes, all excuses are valid and all stories are valid. But again, is that going to get you where you want to go? Ask yourself. If it is going to get you there, then well and good. Good luck. But if it's not going to get you there, you ditch it and you start creating better habits that will get you to a place where you really want to get, okay? One other thing that I've discovered over time, both in my personal life and mostly in our accelerated mentorship program, and all the coaches that have graduated and all the counselors that have graduated and authors that have graduated from accelerated mentorship, because the first of the things that we talk about is the clarity of purpose. Without purpose, we have no direction. Without purpose, we are just living life without a sense of fulfillment. Okay, so that means in order for you to commit to something, there must be a purpose for it. Okay, and so if you have a strong sense of purpose for something, then you realize that you are going to commit, you're going to be committed, even if it's bad. For example, you will eat salad because, I mean, no one wants to eat, like in normal capacity, no one just wants to eat salad. Everyone would love to eat meat. Everyone would love to eat, a lot of, things cooked with butter, things cooked with oil. You realize that those things can be so sweet, they can be so enticing that, you know what, getting to my goal of fitness is me being healthy. So I am creating a stronger sense of purpose for why I must do what I am doing. So every time it's even going, have you ever seen people, I mean, I've gotten to that place where I love salad more than anything else than anyone can give me. But why? Because it has become a second nature, and because now I am used to it, and because I had a stronger why and a stronger purpose as to why I was doing the things that I did. I'm like, you know what, if I am going to influence the world, if I am going to help people, how can I help people if I don't feel healthy, if I don't feel fit, if I don't feel strong? That means I have a stronger purpose for why I want to be fit, for why I want to lose the weight, for why I must do the things that I keep doing. So you realize that habits, you must commit. You must have a strong sense of purpose. You must have a support system. You can't just go at it alone. Otherwise, you'll just give up on the way. And then you have to be able to bounce back and be resilient as a person, because definitely you're going to fall off the wagon so many times. But when you fall off the wagon, if you are resilient, you will try and bounce back. And that is where family will come in. That is where a strong sense of purpose will come in. That is where the structure will help you. And that is where you get to nail the things that you have always longed for in life, to do the things that you have always wanted. And that is where we get to the vision. That is where we get to the success. That is where we get to the significance. So if you've understood habits, why we must create them, the habits we must create, why we fail at creating the habits, that is why I'm saying that this session is power-packed. If this does not propel you, then I don't know what will. But remember, we sink, we survive, or we thrive. And together, you and I, we have chosen to thrive. And that is why we talk about the things that are going to help us thrive. And today, it was habits. And I hope that you create better habits that will take you to the success and the significance that you want. Okay, so from me to you is good night. Have yourself a wonderful time. Share, and make sure that the world gets to know about this Let's grow together.